Most agencies often manage projects from too many places. They have spreadsheets, emails, Slack, project management tools, and client docs. The real problem isn't just task tracking, it's keeping both the internal team and the client aligned to move the project forward without exposing too much internal information. If you run an agency, tracking the work, it's only half the problem. The other half is keeping clients informed without sending hundreds of status update emails or sharing them access to your internal mess of project tracking. So in this video, we're going to be showing you how to use Softr to build a project tracking app. This app is going to be specifically created to give your team one version of the truth and your client another version. This way, people are working from the information that they need to share across that boundary, but not oversharing the internal details and the minutia that the client does not need to see. So if you're ready to have a true system that helps you deliver more timely, more accurately for your clients and keep your team properly aligned, stick around and let's get into it. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Gareth and this is Gap Consulting. It's our mission here to help you unlock the full potential of no-code tools, and Softr is one of our favorite tools to use for building both internal and external applications. And the best part is, thanks to new AI features, so much of the heavy lifting can now be done for us. Now, I encourage you to follow along with me in your own Softr account. I'm going to be starting from an AI prompt. And if you don't already have Softr, consider signing up using our promo code that is being displayed right now, because if you go through these steps, you will get 1 free month at Softr. It's over $100 of value and a great way for you to test out the platform to see if it's the right fit. Let's go ahead and jump in now. I'm going to start from the AI co-builder. Now, I've already pasted in my prompt, and I got this prompt from using another AI tool. So I went into the AI tool of my choice, Claude or ChatGPT, and I said, look, here's what I'm trying to build. And I need a prompt that I can share with the co-builder that will vibe code this application for me in Softr. You'll see it's quite robust. And unfortunately, it's so long that I can't share it directly here. But if you really want to test out this exact prompt, send a message to our team at info@gapconsulting.io, and we'll be sure to share this with you. So once I've shared this, I sent it in to the AI co-builder, and the first thing that it does is it asks me how clients should authenticate the portal. So I want to just quickly pause and highlight this. We put together a pretty robust prompt and we want this to be built, but the AI knows that there are some things that we left out that we did not address in our prompt, and we should really get those right from the beginning. That's not to say that you can't come back and make changes later, but it is so much easier if you get it right from the top. So how do we want people to authenticate? Let's say we're good with Google OAuth, or let's do email and password for now. We can always turn on OAuth later. Next, how should client access be scoped? So let's think this through. Client users linked to a client record. This is recommended and probably what we want to do. Otherwise, we can invite clients by email and manually assign projects. No thanks. We're going to do it this way. So client users are linked to a client record. Let's go with that. And then, should clients be able to submit feedback tied to a project and a deliverable, a general no project required? So it's basically asking, like, at what level do we want feedback to be assigned? Is it assigned to every project or to every deliverable and project, or just in general? For our purpose, let's say we're tying feedback just to the project level. We'll try to keep it simple. Okay, one final question here, it looks like. How do we want everyone to log in? Let's just say email again. I don't know how that's different. Can people sign up on their own? This one's important. Let's say for the purpose of this that we will invite our users. So we can go from there. And these are some layout options. I like side for desktop, bottom for mobile. That's great. That's probably it. Nope, we've got to do some theme questions. And we can always update this It's so easy to update later, but pick the theme that has the closest match to your branding. So I'll choose Breeze here, and that should be it. Here's a little sample of what this might look like. We're good. Create the app, and we will pick this back up after the AI has done its thing. So we got the results from the AI's first pass at our app. And while it's done a lot of the heavy lifting for us, do not make the mistake of assuming that it got everything right from the beginning. We definitely want to go through and make sure that we understand what was built so that we can tweak it and make changes where we had a different vision for our app. So let's dive in. You can start by just trying out your app to see it live, the current version, or you can skip it and get into the back end. So I'll skip it for now. We'll get to test it in just a moment. So a couple of layers to call out here. So first of all of this is what the AI co-builder did for us. It went through step by step, applied all of these changes. It took probably 5 to 10 minutes or so, which is crazy to say because this used to take hours of work just to get to this point. So now we've got a really solid framework, but again, not perfect. Let's understand the data layer because this is going to be critical for us. Our data lives in Softr. It's a database created for this specific app example by the AI. All of the information that lives here is sample data. So when we're ready to go live, of course, we need to scrub out all of this information and create our actual information here in the database. This data actually powers our application. So depending on what people are connected to and what they're able to see, that is what's going to drive the user experience in the app. So it's all based on the information that exists here in the database. So before we actually test the app, it's usually an important place to start to understand the data structure that was created and reinforce either that it was correct or update it where it needs to be fixed. So first and foremost, we have users. These users are the actual people who will be able to log into our app. For each user, there's a unique email address, there is a name, an avatar. These fields are pretty standard for any users table, and we want to make sure that we see them because this is how people will be greeted when they log in. We'll see their avatar when they leave comments. These are the common types of fields that we want to collect for user objects. And of course, this one is very important as well. It's the role field. This is what allows us to have different user experiences for different people in the overall system. So admin are going to have the admin experience, where a project manager might not have the same permissions as admin, but of course they'll have more permissions than your standard team member. Your team member might be more limited, and then of course the client can only see the stuff that they're assigned to. All of this is driven by the role of a user, but also what they're linked to. So in the case of managed projects, the project manager links to projects. That's set up through a linked relationship to the projects table. Clients, same thing. They are linked to the clients table, which is going to have the account level information. So here, Levi Robinson is a user who is connected to multiple different clients that we do business with. So that's how to interpret this information. We've also got project assignments here, as well as assigned tasks, as well as project updates created. So you can see that a lot of linked relationships have been put into effect. Let's take a look at our clients table, make sure it makes sense for what we're doing here. We have the client name. This part is a little funny to me, to have the contact name and the contact email. This feels a little duplicative, honestly, because we have a linked relationship from clients already to the users. I guess it could make sense to store contact information here if you wanted it to live at the client level, but this might be one of those areas that I would want to clean up. And if you agree, you can come in and just delete that information if it's not relevant for your use case. You can also see things like the company website, which I do think should live and exist in the clients table, as well as the status. This is an important thing because we can filter information in or out of active views by archiving or pausing different clients. And that allows us, this status field allows us to do exactly that inside the app. So we've got all of these different components built, and this, again, this data is what's going to power our application, and it's all driven by the users table and then the information that those users are connected to throughout the other components and layers of our data. Once we've taken a pass through the data layer, it's time to dive into the actual application itself, and that lives at the interface level. So flipping back to the interface here, the core building blocks of Softr are your pages, and each page is going to surface information in your application for different users, and that information, the data that's populated, will be filtered, will be assigned. All of that is done through the different permissions that we've established. Now that we've walked through the data layer, let's take a look at the users as it pertains to the application. So flipping from data over to the users, this is going to pull information from the users table. So you can see here that it's telling us where that information lives, and that is the users table that existed here in our data layer. We have 13 different users with 4 different roles that are possible. So in the users table here, we will see the same 13 users by email, by name, by created time. Of course, they all came into existence at the same time. And Softr also surfaces for us when we saw somebody last in the app. We can't exactly see what they click through and how many different actions they've taken, but we can see the last time that they logged in to the application. And of course, we haven't even published this yet, so this is blank. Now, synced is showing whether or not it's pulling the most recent information from the users table. So if you ever have a problem with your connection, it's going to show up right here. And status is telling you whether or not that person has received an invitation to the application or not. Now, the last one here to call out, this one's really critical that we've already talked about a little, is the user groups. Now, the AI built these groups for us, but yours are likely going to be different for your specific agency. These user groups are set up here in the user groups tab. We can also get there by clicking on the pencil here. And this is where we set up the rules that say what makes somebody get the role of project manager or become an admin or a team member or a client. These user groups are so critical to make sure they are correct because it completely dictates how the person is going to be treated when they are logged into the application. If they are admin versus the client, of course, the user experience is completely different. Admin will likely be able to see everything. Clients will only be able to see their information. So make sure that this part is correct, that your user groups are correct, and go in and edit them as needed. Most of the time you want condition-based users that are based on something like the role in the user table that we already talked through. Now that we've explored the users, it's time to get into the actual application itself. This is what people are going to see when they log into your portal. So whether they are your team members, your admin, your project managers, or your clients, they're going to get a different interface, a different user experience when they log into your app. All of this is driven by the interface component right here. So what is this all about? This is going to track all the different pages of your app. It has projects, the detail on the projects, it has clients, client dashboard, feedback, etc. And this symbol right here shows us who has permission to view the actual page. So many times in our applications, we will build pages that are specific to one or more user groups that are completely invisible to people who do not meet those user group conditions. So let's take a look, for example, at submitting feedback. Who can submit feedback in an app? Well, if we look here and we go to visibility, you'll see that only people who are in the client user group can submit feedback. And that makes sense. An admin is not going to submit feedback on behalf of a client. A team member is not going to submit feedback. This is a client-specific workflow. It's where the clients communicate with us what's going on. This is the project, this is the subject, here's my feedback, and this is the date of that. So pretty standard stuff. Now, I do want to call some things out here. Now, for example, do we really want our clients to fill in a date? Most of the time, the date should be kind of pre-filled for us, right? Same thing with submitted by. We already know who they are because they're logged into the app. So why not make it a simpler form and make it so that they don't have to fill that much information out? All they really want to do is tell us what project they're submitting feedback for, share the feedback, and that's it. So this is one of those areas where if we go through our app with a fine-tooth comb, we're going to find things that the AI did that we probably don't want as our ultimate user experience. So I strongly suggest that you go through each part that AI builds for you and ask yourself all these questions to see where you can make the app a little bit better. Now, that's not to say that the AI did a bad job. Again, what the AI has done has saved us hours, but it's not necessarily production ready. So it's really helpful to go in and go through those last few questions to make sure that your app is all signed, sealed, and delivered. If at this point in the video you find yourself thinking, gosh, I'm getting a little stuck in my own app that I'm building in Softr, we offer free consultations to help you get unstuck and put forth your next steps so that you have a clear plan for moving forward. If you're interested, you can sign up for that at gapconsulting.io/strategy-call. I'll include a link wherever you found the video. So let's say we want to automatically fill out who submitted this information or automatically fill out the date and time in this form so that people don't have to do that every time they submit feedback. Simply select the field that you want to make a change to and turn it to a hidden input. And then we can also set a value. So we can say, we want this to fill out with the current date and time. So it will be hidden from the form, and yet the form will still capture that information. Same thing by the submitted by here. We can hide it and select a value and make sure that we're filling it out with the person who's actually, filling this form out. So we can use their record ID so that depending on who fills it out, we know that they're submitting that. And it's one less question that they have to answer in the form. We're still collecting the information. It's still here on the form. It's just hidden from the user experience. Now, we should go through every single one of our pages just like that. Figure out, what is this page about? Here we have the approval detail page. Who can see it? That's, again, surfaced right here. Visibility to the client only. So this particular page, the approval detail, is clients only. We've got the client project detail, my projects, the client dashboard, etc. So all of these pages are going to power our app. And again, we have 4 different users, 3 internal user types, 1 external. But once we're ready to actually preview a live version of the app, we can publish it and or just go to the preview here to see exactly what the end user will see when they're logged in. Now, when we're in preview mode, we can choose who we want to preview as. So if we're to preview it as Charlotte, we get this warning that says, hey, any changes you make are actually going to be reflected in the data layer because it is basically a live version. So let's make sure we understand. And Charlotte gets denied right off the rip because we were on a page that is not one that Charlotte's allowed to see. So let's actually go back here. Go to the home page because everyone has permissions usually to view a home page. And let's preview from the home page. And now we'll select, we don't even have to. It's still remembered we want to impersonate Charlotte. And you'll see here what type of user Charlotte is. Admin in this case. So for the admin user, this is what Charlotte can see. She sees a little dashboard here. These are all the projects. She can select her work and see the stuff that she needs to be worried about or the stuff that she's assigned to. Charlotte can flip into the projects. She can flip into the tasks layer. This information can be clicked and dragged through the Kanban. I mean, it's wild to think that this whole thing was stood up by AI that quickly, but that's the world we live in now. Now, that's Charlotte's experience, and Charlotte as an admin is going to have her own level of permissions, but let's make sure that our clients see a minimized version of that so that they don't see all the noise that is going on internally. We just need the client to see the external facing stuff. And so right off the beginning here, from the home page, I can see that the client's not getting anything. They can see this and yet there's nothing here. If they go to projects, right now I'm impersonating this user, Emma, and nothing here as well. So this is clearly broken and needs some TLC. In order to fix that, we simply go back to our application and we go to these different pages to make sure that we've updated this. So who is able to see these different components? Not only do we have page level visibility as we demonstrated, but we also have block level visibility. So for this block, the little greeter here at the top, this is only visible to admin, project managers, and team members. Of course, when the client logged in, they couldn't see anything. So the quickest way to fix all of this is to share a prompt with the AI. So not only is the AI helpful from the beginning of building an app, but it can also make updates to the application in real time as well. So here I've just put together a simple prompt that says, look, the client user experience is broken. I'm not seeing anything. Send that through to the AI and let it do the heavy lifting for you, and then come back and make those light tweaks. Now, it's taken me a few minutes and a couple of prompts, and I'm still not quite there. And this is where understanding when it's better to take over versus have the AI do things for you, this is where you're going to save a lot of time if you know how to poke around in Softr. So what I've now seen is that while the AI thinks it's made all the right choices for me, it's not 100%. And when I look and preview this, it still wasn't working because the different blocks inside of these pages, even though the page was visible to the client, there was no block that was made visible on the page. So I specifically told the AI that that needed to be fixed. And then what it did was it made these blocks only visible to the client. And so it took away the fact that these blocks were visible to other users. So now that would mean that our admin can't use these blocks, and of course that defeats the whole purpose. So in order to make these changes manually, we just go into the different blocks that we want to change, and we select the user groups. In this case, the welcome block, there's nothing private here. Let's make it available to everybody. And on the active project information, maybe this is just for project managers and admin. And so we can very easily select different elements within a page, and we don't need the AI to do this, but we can go in and intentionally say, show this to these specific people. And maybe team members only see, a different block, whatever that may be. So this is how we can set it up so that different roles get access to certain things. But the next step or the next layer down is to make sure that people only see those components that they are assigned to. And that is handled inside of the conditional filters. We can say things like the client is exactly the client who's logged in. That way, when client A logs in, they see their projects. Client B logs in, they see their projects. So there's no cross-contamination of information. Now, once you're happy with this, go back to your preview, refresh, and see if those changes are now being reflected. So here I am impersonating Emma, and I see now the two projects that Emma's assigned to and where they are, and I can click into them for more information. So in short, this is going to take a little bit of patience and some insider information of how the software works to deliver ultimately the results you're looking for. And yet the AI co-builder gave us such a head start, it erased hours worth of work, weeks worth of work potentially, that would have been required before the co-builder existed. So just like that, you can see we now have the building blocks for a custom agency application to help our internal team members, our clients, and the admin on our team to access the information that they need to see to keep projects on track. This will help you with better collaboration and crossing the border between internal teams and external clients for delivering on schedule. I hope you got a ton of value from this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so that you see more content like this. And if you're feeling stuck on your Softr build, swing by our website because we would love to have a chat and help unlock those next steps for you. That's it for this one. Most important thing, keep on building.